If you had to name the simplest traffic signal, I mean the most basic one out there, it's got to be the stop sign. Red, 8 sides. We all know it.
It's the first thing you learn.
Exactly. And yet, the data shows it's a huge source of confusion and, honestly, some really dangerous mistakes. We think it's simple, but that very assumption, that's what makes it so risky.
It's a total paradox of driving, isn't it? The rules seem crystal clear, but how we actually use them is, well, it's full of misunderstandings and a lot of complacency. Our sources on this, they all point to this really dangerous gap between what drivers think they're doing and what safety actually demands.
And that gap is exactly what we're jumping into for this deep dive. We've gone through a whole stack of material safety protocols, accident stats, even the history of the sign itself. The mission here is to give you a shortcut, really. To get past the driver's ed basics and understand the strategy behind mastering the stop sign. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with what our sources call the 5 fatal flaws, which is a great name. They get right to the heart of what we get wrong. And the biggest one, the one you see every single day, is the incomplete stop, the classic rolling stop.
Right. And it's fascinating because the sources draw a sharp legal line between a rolling stop, where your wheels never truly freeze, and a flat-out failure to stop, which is just blowing through the sign.
And a rolling stop is just, it's an epidemic.
It is, because drivers talk themselves into it. They think, I slowed down, I looked, it's fine.
But that's the conceptual leap, isn't it? The complete stop isn't just about the law. It's an engineering requirement. If you're still rolling, you haven't reset your brain to 0.
That is the key. That 0-speed moment, that's what buys you. And everyone else, the pedestrian, the cyclist, the time to react to something totally unexpected, a rolling stop just destroys your reaction time. You might think you've only cut your stop by a tiny bit, but you could be slashing your reaction buffer by like 80%.
And that lack of time and sight, it connects directly to the second flaw, the visibility problem. We love to blame the driver, but sometimes the environment is setting a trap.
Oh, absolutely. It can be a triple threat. The sources are full of examples, signs hidden by overgrown trees or a big delivery truck. But the one that comes up again and again is parked cars. Cars parked too close to the corner.
That's a huge one, because they create this whole cascade of problems, right? They might hide the sign itself, they block your view of cross traffic, and this is the most dangerous one, they completely hide a pedestrian who's just about to step off the curb.
So the driver fails to yield simply because they couldn't see them. It means you have to be an active scanner, not just looking for the sign, but looking for things that might block the sign's purpose.
Okay, so that leads us to the third flaw, the right-of-way conundrum. Suddenly, this simple sign throws you into a really complex social negotiation, especially at a 4-way stop.
Misunderstanding who goes next, you add a little impatience or aggression to that.
And you've got a fender bender waiting to happen.
Or just one of those awkward, dangerous standoffs. Yeah. And the fourth flaw is tied to that, the velocity issue. Basically, coming in too hot. If you're speeding, you might not be able to stop in time, even if you see the sign and want to.
Especially if the sign is new or there's no warning it's coming up.
Exactly. It's all about controlling your approach speed long before you even get to the line.
And all of these, the rolling stops, the bad visibility, the speed, they all come together to create the fifth flaw.
Yeah.
Just massive risks for pedestrians.
They exponentially increase the danger for anyone not in a car. So the strategy has to be complete stops and avoiding distractions.
Okay, let's switch gears from the flaws to the legal nitty-gritty. This is where even experienced drivers can get a little fuzzy. Let's talk stop versus yield, but really, let's get to the main point of confusion. Where do you actually have to stop?
Well, first, let's just nail down the action. A stop sign means a complete stop. All 4 wheels, stationary, no movement. A yield sign, on the other hand, means you slow down, you prepare to stop, but you only have to come to a full stop if traffic is coming.
Right. I think most of us get that part. But it's when you pull up to the intersection, you see a white line, you see a crosswalk, maybe you see nothing. There's a hierarchy, isn't there?
There is, and it's a strict one. It's designed to keep intersections clear and safe. So you have to follow this order. 1, if there's a marked stop line, you stop there, your front bumper just before it.
Okay, that's the main one.
2, if there's no line, you stop before entering the crosswalk, and that's whether it's painted on the road or not. You can't block it.
And what if there's neither? Just an open intersection.
Then it's number 3. You stop at the point where you have a clear view of approaching traffic without actually entering the intersection. Usually that's right before the curb line.
So if you stop too far back, you're blind, too far forward, and you're in the way. The law is basically forcing you into the safest possible vantage point.
It's engineering your observation point. Precisely.
Now for the big question. It's 3 in the morning, deserted road, nobody around for miles. Do I really have to stop?
The answer from every single source is a definite 100% yes. It's a law.
Hmm?
But let's look past just getting a ticket. There are two big safety reasons: hidden hazards and habit formation.
Hidden hazards I get. The cyclist without lights, a deer, whatever.
Right, but the habit formation piece is maybe even more important. If you get in the habit of rolling through when it seems clear, you are training your brain that the sign is optional. So when you're tired or distracted and you pull up to a busy intersection, your brain might just default to that habit. It's about building a reflex.
So it's like preventative maintenance for your driving brain. Okay, one last thing here. How long do you stop? People say count to 3. Is that a real rule?
It's not a legal time limit, no.
Yeah.
But it's a really useful, practical tool. A lot of drivers do this sort of brake tap stop. Their speed hits 0 for a split second, but the car's still rocking. They're already moving again.
I know exactly what you mean.
So that when 1,000 to 1,000 count.
Yeah.
It's a mental trick to force your vehicle to become fully and mechanically stationary. It ensures the completeness of the stop, which is what the law actually requires.
All right, now that we've got the mechanics down, let's get into the high-stress stuff, the really complex intersections. Let's start with the one that makes everyone scratch their heads. You pull up, and there's a traffic light and a stop sign right next to each other.
Yeah, you see this sometimes when they're planning to upgrade an intersection. The rule is actually very simple, but people get it wrong. The traffic light always overrules the stop sign.
So green means go, red means stop, and you just ignore the sign.
Pretty much. The sign is just the backup. It's there for when the light isn't working.
But there are exceptions, right? That's where people mess up.
The exceptions are critical. If that light is flashing red, you treat it just like a stop sign, a full, complete stop. And the big one, if the power is out and the lights are completely dark, that intersection legally becomes a 4-way stop. Everyone has to stop.
That is so good to know. So what about signs that say all-way or 4-way underneath? Why do they need that extra little sign?
It's all about removing ambiguity. That sign tells every approaching driver that all traffic has to stop. It prevents anyone from assuming they're on a main road that has the right-of-way. It just levels the playing field.
Which brings us to the ultimate driving test, the simultaneous arrival at a 4-way stop. 3 cars, 4 cars, all get there at the same time. What do you do?
That's the moment of truth, isn't it? That hesitation where everything grinds to a halt. The rules are actually designed to break that deadlock in a very clear order.
Okay, walk us through the rules for that frozen moment.
Rule number 1 is simple: order of arrival. The first car to come to a complete stop is the first car that gets to go.
Easy enough. But what if it's a tie?
If it's a tie, you go to rule number 2, yield to the right. The driver to your right has the right of way. So if there's a car on your right, you wait. If your right is clear, you can go.
It creates a kind of clockwise flow around the intersection.
A predictable, safe flow.
Exactly.
Now, if it's just you and a car directly across from you, and you both arrive together, there's a tiebreaker.
Rule number 3.
Rule number 3, turns. A car going straight gets to go before a car turning left, and a car turning right gets to go before a car turning left. But honestly, the best tool here isn't a rule, it's communication.
You mean like waving at someone?
Yes, non-verbal communication. Making eye contact, a little nod, a hand wave to say, you go ahead, that can solve any confusion in a second. Yeah. Patience is always the safest bet.
Okay, let's pivot from the rules to the actual object itself. The design and history here are, well, they're surprisingly fascinating. Who even invented the stop sign?
The credit goes to a man named William Phelps Eno, lived from 1858 to 1945. They call him the father of traffic safety. He was obsessed with the chaos on city streets back then, and he's the one credited with putting up the very first stop sign in Detroit back in 1915.
1915, wow, that's way earlier than I would have guessed. But it didn't look like our sign, did it?
Not at all. The first ones were just, black text on a white background, no standard shape or anything. The big change came in 1922. A highway officials group decided to standardize the shape as an octagon. There was a huge leap forward. But the color was yellow with black letters.
Wait, yellow? Why yellow?
It was considered the most visible color at the time, especially at night with the terrible streetlights they had back then. But they eventually realized they needed something that screamed danger more universally.
And that's when red comes into the picture.
In 1954, they switched it to red with white letters. Red is just globally understood to mean stop, danger, pay attention. So they paired that powerful color with the unique shape they already had.
Which brings us to that shape. It has 8 sides. It's an octagon. Why not a circle or a square?
That shape is pure genius safety design. It's the only common traffic sign with 8 sides. The reason is so you can recognize it instantly, even if you can't read it. If it's covered in snow or mud, you see that 8-sided outline, and, without a doubt that you have to stop. You recognize it by feel, not just by sight.
That is just brilliant design. Okay, one last practical detail that ties back to the visibility flaws we talked about. Parking. How close can you legally park to a stop sign?
This is all about keeping sight lines clear. It varies a little, but most places say you can't park within 15 to 30 feet of a stop sign. The Federal Highway Administration actually recommends a 30-foot zone.
30 feet, so that's what, 2 or 3 car lengths? That's the space needed so a driver at the line can see around the corner, and a driver coming up to the sign can actually see the sign itself.
Exactly. Parking in that zone just turns the whole intersection into a blind corner for everybody. It completely undermines the safety design.
So, after all this, what does it all mean? We took a deep dive into what seems like the simplest thing on the road and found all this incredible complexity and strategy. I think the big takeaways for me are: 1, the absolute necessity of the complete stop for resetting your brain. 2, finally getting clarity on the four-way stop, especially that yield to the right rule.
And remembering that the traffic light is king. It always wins, unless it's out or flashing red. And for you, the actionable part is about maintaining visibility. That means controlling your own speed, but also reporting signs if they're blocked by a tree or something. The whole system relies on it.
The sources kept coming back to one idea. You stop even when you see nothing, because the stop is designed for the thing you don't see. The biggest danger isn't the other car, it's our own internal thought that, I'm safe, I don't need to stop here. The stop is a safety buffer you buy yourself to see the unexpected. So we'll leave you with this thought. If you find yourself rolling through this most basic rule, what other simple, critical habits in your life might you be rolling through, and what hidden hazard are you failing to see?
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.